Joseph Woll, what's your expectation for tonight?
Well, I mean, he's certainly going to have a little bit more prep time, right? Like most times when a goalie goes in, they have an idea it's coming, right? Things aren't going very well. The game's stretched out. The goalie in front of them is not having a great night. They probably have start to click the gears a little bit. Oh, I might have to go in here, and you're sitting on the bench. You're up. What was it? 3-1 at the time, 4-1 maybe at the time, and all of a sudden your goalie partner's throwing up in a bucket, and you're like, no, like you're not even thinking of going in, and then you got to go in. And he made a couple good saves early. I thought he looked like a guy that was shell shocked a little bit, like thrust into something that he just wasn't going to be prepared for, and I don't think anybody could be. But look, he was deep in the net a bit. He wasn't very aggressive up. Goalies we talk about a lot like to be up on their toes a bit, so they're reactionary and quick, and they have their movements and pushes are strong. I don't think he had any of that, and I don't know how he would. I mean, that would have been a really tough spot to come into. And today he's got his full day of prep. He got those minutes, right? He got those minutes the other night. It was a little bit of what Florida's about. And heck, you go back to last year, and Stolarz got thrown in a game in Edmonton, the game they lost 8-1. And he looked like he'd never played in the league before in that night. And it was like it was a no chancer for him. And now he looks like, a completely different guy. I mean, first round in Montreal, Dobish had to go in, right? He wasn't expecting to play, and he did a really good job. Is Jakob Dobish way better than Joseph Woll? I don't think so. So why can't he play a good game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess time will tell where his preparation's at tonight. Obviously, yesterday the talk of the town, Ray, was the Sam Bennett incident and everything that happened with Anthony Stolarz following that, with Sam's history and everything. I think Leafs Nation was in quite had quite their feathers ruffled, without a doubt. But from your vantage point, what did you think of that play? Was it a violent thing? Was it suspendable? Did you even notice it during play?
It's funny you brought the last one up. I didn't really think too much about it. I think it should have been, in retrospect, it should have been a penalty, right? Like when I saw the replay, I'm like, he makes contact. He's in the blue paint. Like that should be a penalty.
Yeah.
If you look at where the official was, Chris Rooney, he's in position, but he's on the other side. Like, it's not like Rooney's in the wrong place. It's like, what can you see? You can't be anywhere. The only position you could have had a great look at would have been if you were standing right behind the net. And of course, there's no ref ever going to stand there. So I didn't really think much of it. I was kind of pissed at myself that I didn't put together in the broadcast, like in my head, the early shot from Reinhart and the possible connection to this play. When I saw Woll coming into the game, even at that point, guys, my thought was he must be sick.
Yeah.
Like it never clicked to me that it would have been something more. Should have been a penalty, 100%. Suspendable, not even close. His history, this is interesting for me, is that unless you're suspended or fined, there is no history. It's just us watching on somebody putting a compilation of plays you don't like to see, or if you're the Marchand play, I think it was Matthew Nye's play, like none of them are on his record. So it doesn't matter if you're pissed off about the way he plays. If it's not on the record, they can only look at the individual play. And I think that somehow got lost in all the noise yesterday.
It really did. I mean, I was adamant that, it wasn't a violent play. He kind of cruised through Stoli and he had the puck, was taken to the net. Sure, he made some contact, but his elbow stayed where it was. I thought it was a nothing burger of play as far as violence.
Jay, I got to ask you something. How many times did you run into somebody on the ice and then you go back to the bench and in the discussion with the guys you're on the ice with, like about the shift, you go, yeah, what happened there? Mm-hmm. Like you don't, for me anyway, I was like, I don't even know what happened there. Like they're like, you hit him right in the nose with your stick, or I got hit in the face. The guy doesn't even know.
Yeah.
You're just in the midst of the play, and it's way easier when we're sitting on our couch and we got a replay and sometimes things happen, and the guy I'm convinced, generally speaking, there's a lot of times there's a high sticking penalty, and they're like, why am I getting a penalty? You're like, well, you hit him right. The ref tells him there was one last night to Chychrun. You hit him right in the face. He had no idea.
Yeah, and I mean, the action itself, I understand what happened to Stoley was kind of horrific. I mean, throwing up and stretcher, hospital, all that. But that's not really indicative of the play that happened as far as what you would expect. No one in the world would look at that bump on Stoley and think it would lead to that. At the same time, as you mentioned, the guy's history, whether he's suspended or not, you don't factor that in. You look at the play, and then if you say, okay, this is suspendable, now let's figure out how many games we're going to give him. Then you go to the history and whatnot. But can you imagine them breaking down that little play in the playoffs of him kind of going to the net and bumping into Stoley and saying this is a suspension to one of the best players on the best team in the playoffs? Like, how would they possibly justify it? It was crazy how many people wanted his head on a stake.
And then if you go through the game, do you know, there were at least 3 hits that I can remember offhand that I thought like they were good, hard hits. And when you look in the replay, you're like, oh yeah, there was head contact there too. Like, they're not suspendable. They're not penalties. But in each case, if you elevate your scrutiny on every play, it really starts to, you can see where it gets away. Like before the Nyes goal, is that not, again, I didn't even think of it in the time. Is that not that should probably have been a trip on Reinhart at the net. But in the course of the play, I didn't even think once about it. I was like, oh, he crashed into the net, and oh, wait a minute, Florida's got 4 guys on the ice. Like, that's what I'm thinking, and I'm standing right between the benches. I didn't, at no time did I go, that 100% was a missed call. It's easy in retrospect when it's over, not at the time.
Ray, I said this yesterday for me, and I put this out on X. It's more about the inconsistency. Was that call on Domi one of the worst calls you've seen, period, in watching and playing hockey?
I'm not real sure. So our guys ran the highlights. So like there's a penalty. They're looking for it in the tape room. And so they run the play. The guys in the tape room thought it was right at the blue line on the entry. And so I'm saying on the air, because you don't have time to discuss it, I'm like, no, it's further than that. Because I knew it had to be at the end of the play. I didn't see it. But I'm like, it had to be there at the end of the play. And then it wasn't there at the end of the play. Like, I don't even know if he made a cross check. It was more like I don't know, like kind of ran into, or he ran into him. Of course he did, but he kind of shoved him. Like, if that was a cross check, there would have been 74 power plays in the game on whatever day it was, Monday. Like that was not a strong start. That was the same start that the Panthers had. Put it that way.
Yeah, frustrating. I think that the consistency is the big thing. You're going to let X go, and then you're going to call Y. I don't think people can quite figure it out. I sympathize with referees. It's a difficult job. But on to positive things. William Nylander in Game 1. I mean, we've been talking for a while that one of these big boys needs to step up and have a monster game and like elevate to the point where you are the reason you got over the hump and won a game in the playoffs. That was William Nylander in Game 1. What'd you think of his performance?
Game 6 and Game 1, right?
Yeah.
It's back-to-back 2-goal games. And see, I'm a Nylander fan, and one of the reasons is he looks impervious to noise. Like, whatever's going on, he's going to play the way that he thinks is the best way to play a certain situation. And it's not for everybody. Like, there's some guys who wish he would use his body more, and he would check a little more firmly. And man, everybody's looking for the perfect player, and they can keep looking, and there's about 6 of them in the league. Like, I love, one of my favorite players is one of Nylander's buddies, and that's David Pastrnak. And I'm like, those guys, there are times when you're like, God, I wish he would have, gone through the guy's hands there a little bit. You're like, yeah, so what? They can do things that other people can't. When Nylander gets one, it feels like most guys that score, they get charged a bit. The first goal was just, throw it through the screen and get it to the net. And the second one to elevate the puck, to down on his knee, to get it up over Bobrovsky's glove. Those are scorers' goals, right? Most guys fire that right into the Panthers' crest. or they hit him right in the arm. And Nylander, like I said, I'm a big fan. I think he's the type of player, if the Leafs can get further on, he will be thought of as a big game performer. Like I think he's got that type of makeup. On both of those goals, though, I'm going to say, I don't think he got a point on either of them, but Tavares created both of those goals. He's jammed right up on Bobrovsky's crease for the first one. The second one, he drives through, and Nico Sturm, he takes Sturm and runs him into, I think it's Schmidt, and then that opens up that space for Nylander. So not much on the score sheet on those plays, but Tavares I thought he was really strong as well.
So that's two of the core four, and I don't want to break a broken record. I think us three would all agree. It's got to be Poppy time. It's got to be Marner time. I know this is going to be a difficult game. I expect Florida to have their best in this one, but do you see it that way as well?
Yeah, I thought Matthews was pretty good in the first game. The one thing I noticed watching him live, because you don't see it on TV quite so much, is I seem to remember him leading the rush out of the zone more frequently. I don't know if it's a stylistic change or a health change or a whatever change, but now he seems to be behind the play a little bit more frequently, and that's just not how I think of him. I think of him like out in the space, move the puck wide, open up, find the open spot. Now he gets to shoot it. Now he's back, and there is no shot. And I'm not really, I'm not really sure where that has all evolved from, but it doesn't look the same to me. That said, I thought he was really good in the first game. I thought Marner was okay, made a sweet little pass there when, to start the play that Nylander fed ahead. And they scored. I think it was the Riley goal. That was a really good play. It was Marner that started defensively. I thought he was okay. Marner gets a pass in the first game. They won, so it doesn't particularly matter. Secondly, I mean, that's a pretty big day in your life, and there's lots going on, and you might have energy, but you don't have gas, and that's what it looked like to me. And man, I've got 4 kids, and those days are the frickin' best of your life, and then when the adrenaline goes, you're like, oh boy, I got no gas pushing me along here. And my kids were not born the ones that were born when I was playing, they were in the summer. I had all kinds of time.
Yeah,
the other guys, I was just older, so I had nothing to do anyway.
Mine were born in the off season too, and I can't imagine have to play to a level that Mitch Marner's expected to play during those times. No. But he's gonna have to find a way as a professional. Yep. I think that the Leafs might have got the Panthers by surprise in game 1. Caught them maybe not being totally prepared. I really think that Paul Maurice is going to rectify that. What do you think we're going to see out of the Panthers at the drop of the puck tonight?
I'm with you. I thought they were brutal to start the game. I said a few times in our broadcast, very uncharacteristic mistakes by Florida. They don't play a perfect game, but the mistakes they made, they lost the puck battle behind the net on the first goal. Pacioretty won that puck that went around to Nylander. Florida usually squares those off. They don't get beat very much on that. The coverage mistake on the Nylander second goal, that generally doesn't happen to Florida. The game-winning goal, they got 4 guys on the ice. Somebody screwed up a change. And, of course, Balinskis comes on late, and so it's probably him, who won't be in the lineup tonight anyway because Ekblad is back. All those things kind of added up to me to not a great Florida game. The last 10 or 12 minutes, though, that looked a little more like the Panthers. And they were their aggression with the puck, their aggression on the forecheck really caused some problems. And that'll be the chore through this series is, can you handle that when Florida kicks it up a gear? Can the Leafs handle that? I guess the other part is the top end of Toronto's lineup was better than the top end of Florida's. And that's going to have to be, I think, the recipe for them to win. Is the top end of their lineup has to be better because I don't think their bottom end can outplay Florida's. Like, I don't think Toronto has a line that's going to outplay Lundell. Like, I think that's a really good line. So the top end better outplay their top end.
Yeah, and I think from the Florida perspective, they had to be happy that none of the conversation after Game 1 was about the fact they lost that game. It was about Bennett. It was about Stolarz. Just to circle back to Rapp, do you think we're going to see any fallout from that tonight at all?
No.
No?
There's no time. There's no, like you can't, no matter how pissed off you are at somebody, you can't lose what you're trying to do, which is to win 3 more games to move forward. Like, you just can't. And so there's a time and a place for everything. Now is about today. It's about Game 2. For Florida, it's about trying to even the series. They'll tell you, of course, that they haven't lost at home. Like, if you steal the first game on the road, great. If not, you try and win the second game. And I mean, clearly the more games you lose, like, now your margin gets smaller each time. But as far as I think each game with Florida becomes an individual, like, it's individual's thing.
Yeah. And
you better be prepared again for them to be physical, and you better start the same way. Now, you might not, but you better try to start the same way, right? Craig Berube told us before the first game, we had our little individual chat with him, and I thought he said something was really cool. He's like, I want us to take control early. Like, I want us to get and set the tone. I don't want to wait for Florida and see what they're going to play like. Mm-hmm. And I thought the Leafs did that really, really well in the first game.
Ray, there's nobody who breaks down the game quite like you do. Really, really appreciate your time. I know you're a very busy dude. Thanks so much for this.
Thanks a lot. Sorry for not being on time. I missed this. I missed the start button. I had everything done, but I missed the start button.
It's all good.
Next time I got it.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, Razor.
Have a great day, guys.
See you, buddy. You too. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.